All right, so this question's got a lot going on. It looks like a really complicated problem. We're supposed to be solving the equation square root 22y plus 86 equals y plus 9. The way that you should solve that is squaring both sides. So in squaring both sides, we'll get rid of the square root on the left. Right side, you're going to have to do the whole a squared plus 2ab plus b squared thing. So you're going to get y squared plus 18y plus 81. Then you're going to move everything to one side, so the other side is 0. You're going to either factor or use the quadratic formula. Whole lot going on there. But here's what you really got to remember as far as taking this final exam that's multiple choice. You need to remember that squaring both sides is one of the three situations in which we have to check our answers. It's not just a good idea to check our answers like it is in every problem. You have to because what you did wasn't fully legal. So before I get into the specifics of this one, let me refresh your memory on the three times that you absolutely must check your answers. The first time that we ever saw this was when solving a rational equation. And so what I mean by a rational equation is anytime you have an equation where there's an x in the denominator. Now this is really, really important. You want to check your answer when there's an x in the bottom to make sure that your bottom isn't 0. This is really, really important. If the value you get makes the bottom 0, you throw it out. Now the other case that we're looking at right now isn't just radical equations. It's any time you square both sides. If you go on to take math classes beyond this, there'll be other situations where you're going to square both sides of an equation. And squaring both sides isn't fully legal. And the reason for that is squaring, so y equals x squared, squaring, is not a one-to-one function. It doesn't pass the horizontal line test, which means it can't really be undone directly. So that's the heart of why squaring both sides isn't fully legal, and we have to check our answers when we square both sides. And the last time we saw was when solving log equations, and in particular when you use properties of logs. So that's the other time you need to check your answer. And again, we're checking to make sure that your answer's in the domain. It's making sure that it's allowable, making sure that the argument of your log is positive. So going back to our problem here, if we're going to square both sides and do a whole bunch of work and eventually check our answers anyway, why not just start over here and check those answers to see which one is correct? Now, we're going to go one step further on being sort of students that don't want to do more work than necessary. I'm not going to say lazy or anything like that. We're going to be smart. We're working smart, not hard. We're going to say this is the no calculator portion of the test. Are we really going to be asked to plug in this guy on the no calculator portion of the test to check our answer? And along those lines, probably not this guy either. So off the get-go, I can say these two are probably not the answers. Now, I'm not going to outwardly say they're not and cross them off. I'm just saying there's a good chance that's not going to work. So as I look at the two remaining likely answers, they both have y equals 5 in them. So plugging in y equals 5 isn't going to differentiate between those two answers. So let's plug in y equals -1 and see if it's the right answer. If y equals -1 does work, then A must be the right answer. If y equals -1 doesn't work, then we should probably try 5 to see if D is the right answer. And if not, we got to resort back to those probably not ones. So let's go ahead and just test out y equals -1 and see if it works. So if we plug it in, we're getting 22 times -1 plus 86 equals -1 plus 9. Now, technically, we want to say, I'm not sure if this is equal. So this is getting me -22 plus 86 might be equal to 8. So this is the square root of 64 equals 8. Sure enough, that checks out. That means y equals -1 really is a solution to this equation. And the only answer in our multiple choice options that includes -1 is A. So that shows that A must be the correct answer.